Hey, everybody, welcome back to the AI Files, where we explore the fascinating world of artificial intelligence and its impact on education. I am your host, Corey Gill, and I am happily joined by Nicole Doyle of Durham College's Faculty of Social and Community Services. So, welcome, Nicole.
Thanks, Corey. Nice to be here.
Pleasure to have you because I love exploring this topic with people like yourself, especially because you're linked into the law clerk program, and I think when I think about AI, this is an area that has great opportunity for AI, but
hmm
also suffers great risks from things like AI hallucinations and
hmm
inappropriate information. So I'm excited to chat with you about how and why you use it and what you see the fit being going forward.
hmm
So let's dig in. All right. So you
All
mentioned you
right.
started using AI after PD Day session. So I'm wondering if you can kind of share your start of your journey.
Yeah, well, it happens with a lot of things. I've been at this for a while, and new things always come along, and I'm always interested in them and curious about them. But I find that it takes sort of even like half an hour or an hour just to sit to be taught about it a little bit, but logistically. So what I really liked about that session was it did go over the idea of AI and all that kind of stuff, but it really dug into the nitty gritty and how to use it and what the tools were. And I'm a librarian by background, so I was particularly interested in the querying. And that session was really focused on how to construct a really good query. And so I think that piqued my interest. And so when I think it was yourself and Jonathan Kerrigan were talking about AI and the chat, I think it was ChatGPT might have been using. And so I just started playing. and
Awesome.
then and then it was just experimenting and listening to some of the ideas about querying and trying to understand how that would work. And so I started coming up with ideas of how my students might use it. And I plugged those in and it kind of went from there.
That's excellent. I like the linkage too to your past career, your past education, because
Mhm.
we are finding that it's AI's been around for years, and a lot of what we did actually has relevance in how we need to interact with it today.
Right.
So that's a really good linkage for people to kind of pick up on, right? So through our discussions, I know that you found some creative ways to use
Mhm.
AI and to use it cautiously yet productively in your courses. So
Yeah.
I'm wondering if you could share some of that.
Yeah. So I started just by doing very simple things. So I was teaching an automated law course, and I need to give the students, material to work on. So I was working in Excel and I was making a spreadsheet with a bunch of numbers in it. And I thought, I started coming up with the numbers, and how you sort of just hit the keypad and try and guess the numbers. And I'm like, why am I doing this? So I went in and I said, can you give me, 50 numbers between 10,000 and 30,000? And it spit out random numbers, which was amazing because all I did, was copy and paste. And then
Love it.
I think it was one of my kids was looking over my shoulder and they said, well, why are you doing, reformatting those columns? Just tell it to give it to you in a way that Excel can accept. And I'm like, oh, so then I just added to the query and I said, can you provide that in, 4 columns of 5 numbers or whatever? And it did. And I was like, wow. So it was mostly time saving. I tried it with names because I had to generate random names. So
Awesome.
I said, can you give me 20 random names of various ethnic backgrounds that are common in North America? And out they came. So it was mostly time saving things, like that. And I did progress. I in that same course I had to give some students text to type, like to practice their typing skills.
Awesome.
So I wanted it to be somewhat meaningful, but it didn't have to be prescribed. And so rather than going and looking for text, I said, can you give me 8 paragraphs of text that talk about the importance of time management for law clerks? And
Awesome.
it actually, spit it out in like paragraph 1, paragraph 2, and so I was finding that my ability to kind of give it really distinct instructions and specific instructions about how I wanted the information was really helpful. So that was kind of how I dipped my toe into it a little bit.
I love it
Um,
actually, and you
yeah,
picked up on some neat things that a lot of people
yeah,
forget about. You got to have some time to play with it, but
yeah,
the amount of time you spend playing with it, you'll get more time back
right,
after you sort it out, which I like. And
right.
and you mentioned how you're able to improve your interactions with it, even with the assistance given by your child there saying, hey, give it to me in a particular type of format.
Right, right,
And these are the evolutions that go on, but you can't find it unless you start using it, and you can't figure out what your sweet
right.
spot is without using it. So my question then would be, if you played around a little bit, what's your favorite AI application so far, and why do you think it's been helpful for you?
Well, the only one, it's the only one
Perfect.
I've used, is ChatGPT. And probably it's because it was the one I learned, at that session. And I know that you talked about more than that. But I just thought it was sort of, it's a popular one and accessible. So I would give it a try. So I probably should learn more about different ones. But yeah, that's the one that I've been
No,
using.
sometimes getting good at one is actually ideal, and
Yeah.
ChatGPT has got some benefits, absolutely,
Yeah.
and that's great. And so it also, I mean, we also had discussions about students using it, and I know that this
Right.
is one of your reasons for use. Students tend to like ChatGPT, so sometimes it's nice to use the
Yeah.
environment that they've embraced. And so
Right.
I'm curious now that you're using it, and you know your students are using it. How is your awareness of how they use it improved?
I was kind of I teach a general education course, a gen ed course, and I was starting to get a lot of assignments that I don't know, they just didn't look right to me. And I thought they were very patterned. And so once I've started using, ChatGPT for one, that's how it spits things out. And so
Right.
I went, oh, like that, and I had suspected it, and I had discussed it with students, and some of them had admitted to using it. So I knew that that's where it was coming from. But then the patterning kind of really
Yeah.
stuck with me. And so students who use it wholesale, like if they just ask a question and just copy paste over the answer and don't do anything to it, it became very like I'm now very aware of that. And it's interesting because I actually have tried using it when I'm trying, because my challenge for myself this semester was in that course to make an assignment that wasn't easily done on using AI, like on
Right.
ChatGPT or another tool. And so what I was doing is I would think of an idea and I would actually go and try and do it on there to
Right.
see, what it spit out. So, and then to be aware, like, this might be how the students use it. So I think it was putting two and two together that I had already sort of suspected.
Right.
But I think also, the student impact, and I'm not sure if this is fully what you're asking, but the student impact as well is when I am able to talk about using it in class, I think they start to understand that I know about it.
Right.
And, so it's not to scare them because honestly, like these are tools that are available. And if people, if they're available, people are going to use them and it might improve, their efficiency and workflow and all those things. But I try to teach students critical thinking. So how do you use it to enhance critical thinking? And I would rather them not just put in a reflection question
Right.
and give back to me what ChatGPT says. So I'm able, like, if they understand that I know what the tool is and how it works, I think it just is more of a mutual understanding between us that there are appropriate times to use it, and there are other things that hopefully you're using your own brain to do. So yeah,
I love it. I love it. And it's funny you bring
yeah.
that up. And I kind of like to share this tidbit or whatnot that's kind of occurred to me this semester. And I share it with a lot of
Mhm.
my students now is I tell them they can use the AI, but I want to protect the critical thinking. And it's valuable for them to protect their critical thinking. So tell AI that. And I said, when you
Right.
go to use them, tell them I'm a student. I'm doing an assignment. I
Right.
want your help, but I need to develop my critical thinking. So I just
Right.
need you to help guide me and
Right.
improve that area.
Right.
And it's funny, a lot of students have come back to me now, 10 weeks in going, I can't believe the difference that I'm getting out of using AI. It's not doing the work for me. It's
Right.
really helping level up. And I see it
Right.
in the assignments, which is great. It sounds like
Yeah.
you're working to accomplish that. And
Yeah, for sure.
that's incredible. Okay. I love that, right? Now, yeah. And we kind of touched on this, I know, in the critical thinking and whatnot, but
Yeah. Yeah.
but are you venturing down the path of bringing assignments either into the classroom or online or whatnot that have them use AI to learn how to use it in the workplace? Because we're seeing a trend of value in that skill.
Yeah. So I think one of the things I've considered, because I try to engage my law clerk students in discussion about AI, and talk about some of the tools because it's actually a very big trend in law. And as many things in law, there's a lot of pushing to use it, and here's some great tools and whatever, but then there's a lot of, more established lawyers in there that are saying, whoa, 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 like,
Right.
let's be careful here. So, but I want them to be aware of it, because once they graduate, I don't think it's going to be long before, they're in a workplace and it's going to be at least discussed, and I want them to be educated about that. So I was thinking, and I haven't tried it yet, but I'm thinking of, we do a research memorandum, a legal research memorandum, where they have to research the law and then apply it to a set of facts, and it's like an essay, right, that they do.
Awesome.
So I'm thinking maybe in that class of an activity where I do give them a topic and we ask AI to generate a research memo, and then have them work in groups and check it, like fact check it, like
Love it.
go find
Love
the
it.
cases, read the cases, how are they being discussed, and do you agree with what came out? And so just to sort of have them understand the benefits and the limits, as things currently stand, because I know things are always, improving and getting better. So hallucinations, you mentioned, is actually a really big issue in law, hallucinating
Yes.
cases and things like that. But I have been sort of keeping an eye on some of the technologies that legal AI vendors are coming out with. And that's the big thing that they're pushing. They're saying, if you use our tool, it will not hallucinate.
Nice.
So I think
Nice.
they're recognizing that's a thing. So that's the one thing they're pushing. I think the big pushback in the legal field, to be honest, is confidentiality for clients, because
Right.
depending on how you use it, you have to put information in, and clients are saying, I don't want you, like especially big corporate clients are saying, I don't want you putting my information into a program so that
Yep.
others might access it. So but again, there's a variety of ways to use it, but I really think that students touching it and like just what I did, like, forcing them, like, try it. You might be using it to correct your grammar and all that, and that's one thing, but, try it with this and see how you feel about it, so that you can speak intelligently about it.
I love it. I love it. And for
Mhm.
anybody listening that has that same concern that the lawyers have, at Durham College, we have Copilot, which is an enterprise version, and it doesn't
Right.
let your documents and information, whatnot, flow
Ah,
into the greater world. So
right,
it
right,
makes the AI more intelligent, but it locks your
right.
documents down to your own environment. So
Hmm.
again, you got to have the corporate level. Luckily, Durham College has invested in that for us. So you
Right.
can use that without fear. Reach out to me if you
Yeah.
got questions.
Hmm.
But awesome. I'm glad you brought that up. And we've had some forward-looking statements and some future thoughts
Yeah.
on it. So I'll leave you with the one final question that we before we wrap up,
Yeah.
and it's how do you see the role of AI evolving in education, specifically in your area of the law clerk program, um,
Mhm.
and students' future use of it?
I think that we're going to see it in my program mostly with our legal research vendors, because we use two big vendors, and they're both, I know, at the law schools where they're training lawyers, they're launching their AI, the AI sort of overlay to their product.
Right.
So like we've trained the students on those databases for many years. They've evolved, and this is sort of the next evolution. And it hasn't hit us at the college yet, but I have a feeling that it's going to be in the law firms. The lawyers are going to be learning about it, and then the law clerks are going to need to learn about it. And so it's going to be very specialized, I think. So it's not going to be a chat GPT type of thing. It's going to be, something that they pay vendors to do. And I think it will be part of the lawyer's workflow. And
Right.
if it's part of the lawyer's workflow, our law clerks need to understand how to use it. So I really think that down the road, it's going to be integrated in all of their courses, where they're in a lab and working with different software, because if it's a will, it's going to be helping them draft a will. And if it's, real estate, it's going to be helping draft that purchase and sale agreement. So I think that's where it's going in the legal field. And I know that many people aren't ready for it in the legal field, but I feel like our students can be ahead of the curve if they start to learn about it. So I think I'm committed with the program to making sure we stay on top of it, and introducing it in such a way that the students may be going out and mentoring, people
Exactly.
in their workplaces, on this type of thing. So it's not that we're going to ignore the traditional kind of, like, they're still working for lawyers who need them to understand the basics, but I think they're going to need to understand where AI fits in and how, and be able to adapt to that, when the time comes.
I love it. That's an incredible statement. I really like the fact that we have an opportunity in the college to now send the next generation out ready to help the businesses transform, because
Mhm.
a lot of our businesses still do things the old way, especially if they're smaller firms and whatnot, and they need that kind of insight, and they're fearful dipping their toe in as well. And if somebody
Right.
comes in who's educated, understands,
Mhm.
the legal implications and where it works, where it doesn't work, and how to protect themselves, can actually transform a business. So I love that.
Mhm.
Um, and I actually think that kind of wraps up what we're looking to
Yeah.
cover today. Unless you have any final words or thoughts you want to share.
No, I think we've covered it.
Awesome. Well, then, Nicole, thank you for joining me today and sharing your experience and insights. It's been great.
Thanks for
Um,
inviting me. It's been fun.
and to our listeners, Nicole and I hope you found this discussion enlightening. We hope that it encourages you to explore the use of AI in your work. And until next time, be curious, be innovative, but ensure you let AI empower your journey. Thank you.